If there is one thing we talk about every day, we live with it, we feel it, we experience it, and we always want to experience it. That thing is love. Now we're here with Mr. Akin Aregbesola again to discuss on this subject. My name is Uyo Omani, and I welcome you guys to the program Deep Answer. You're welcome to the program, Mr. Aregbesola.
Thank you.
So could you please enlighten us again today on the subject of love? What exactly is love, and what's the foundation on which it is built?
Okay, okay. So like everything else that we discuss, love is built on the foundation of knowledge. So in summary, there are three virtues. The virtue of hope, faith, and love. So hope is, of course, hope is the feeling that keeps us alive for tomorrow. That even though we are practicing principle today and we expect that we'll be elevated, we expect that things will happen positively, and then we'll migrate from being depressed to being well, from being sick to being whole, and all of that, and we are not getting the result immediately. Hope is that force, that virtue that keeps us alive and keeps us active in the practice of principle. So that even though our expectation does not happen today, we are hopeful that it will happen tomorrow. So when it happens, when that which you expect ultimately happens, then hope would have completed its work. So what will keep you alive thereafter? What will keep you vitalized thereafter, after hope has completed its work? So there is faith. Faith is the other force, the other virtue that assures you that because you have paid a price, a spiritual price, not even only spiritual, even if it's in the material, because you have made the appropriate sacrifice, because you have observed the appropriate principle, you know for certain that the benefit attached to that principle would come to you. That is faith. Just like in the material, you know for certain that physical laws apply, and therefore, if you leave a book on your shelf, you would forever come back and find that book there, unless some external force moves that book away. That if you throw an object up, it will come down and again, that the sun will rise every morning. In fact, that when the sun rises, then it's the dawn of a new day, that whatever you sow, all of these are material laws, physical laws. So also are there spiritual laws that I call principles. That once you observe this principle, this will happen. When you observe this principle, this will happen. All right? Okay. So that knowing, you are no longer doubting. It's not like if I do it, there is 80% chance I would derive the benefit, or there is 90% chance. No, we're talking about certainty. 1.0%, 100% chance. Probability of 1. In arithmetic, you call that probability. All right? So that is faith.
Okay.
Again, when faith completes its work, when that which you have sowed in the observation of principle materializes, then your faith has worked. So what keeps you going after faith? Hope has completed its work. Faith has completed its work. In faith, because you know, in fact, in your spirit, inside of you, this thing is already done. So that is why it is called the substance, the evidence of the unseen. You have not seen it materialized in the physical, but you already have evidence inside of you that this has worked. That thing is settled. I mean, you are not. This is not just prayer. This is not just saying it superficially. You know for certain. So that's why you could say that it is evidence of manifestation, even though it has not manifested. You already know it is already inside of you. All right. Yeah. Substance of the, substance, physical, substance as in something you can quantify and you can say, I see it, of something that is not yet evidenced. It's not evidenced yet, you can feel it. All right. All of that is faith, but there is something greater than hope, than faith. That is love. It is love that is perpetual. Love is forever going, forever and ever. That force of love. When we're talking about love now, from this spiritual perspective, this is not emotional love. This is not, I love you, my darling. No, not that kind of emotional love. This is the force, the spiritual force of love. All right. So this love is the father of them all, of all virtues. So it is a force. It is a force so pure and so real and so fundamental to everything that it is. When the world was created, when universe came to being, from where did it come? Because before the universe came to being, there was nothing from which you could take to say, even the world, let's not even go. All right? By your hypothesis, by your theorems and stories of creation. From where was, because the world had not existed. So from where was something taken to say, I want to create the world. Let me take this and put it together to form the world. All right? So there was this force by which things came to be.
Okay.
It's a force of cohesion. It's a force that brings things together. And then things will just be there as long as that force remains. Once the force is gone, then there is no longer energy to sustain these things, and then they will collapse. Force, that force is built out of love. Okay, let's come back to this level now. You see, there is this part of us as humans that is always about me, 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 me. I want this, I want that. The farthest you can go outside me is still my family, my this, my. So when we build a life around me, 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 what will I eat tomorrow? What will my children eat? What would everything? That is not really love. That is the opposite of love, and it's called selfishness. It's called selfishness. With selfishness, there is limits to what we can attain, to what is possible to us, what is possible for us. All right. So the other part, the other end of being selfish, because the world is duality, remember? It's always a scale of. So at every point in time, you want to balance it. So at one end, there is self, ego, me, me, me. All right. All the negative energy that is attached to ego, they are around me. The worry, the fear, and all those forces that drive you to commit what you would call sin is around me. So on the other end, there is something opposite to selfishness called selflessness. Another word for selflessness is love. So at the other end is love. And love is when you begin to migrate away from self, the direction you are going is selflessness. From selfishness, selflessness. At this level of selflessness, at this level of love, it's no longer about me, me, me. You are leaving self behind and you are going towards love.
Mm-hmm.
This love is the brightness, the light. Another word for love is light. Pure light. As you are moving away from self towards pure light, you may attain 5% light, 20% pure light, 30%, 40%. Someday you get to pure light, and this is what you represent as God, this pure light. And you represent this self as devil. But it's not really, those are just the people that you attach to as occupants of these realms. All right. So specifically, anything you do resulting from selfishness, for my benefit, I can kill for my benefit, I can steal for my benefit, I want this for my benefit, is evil. That's what we call evil. So these things are not abstract. The evil you are looking for is not necessarily resident in the devil, because you represent the epitome, the height, the deepest character of self by the devil. All right. But for me, whether it is evil or all the way to the purest form of light representing love that is occupied by what you call God, all of them together, I call the universe.
Okay.
So it is at this level of love, and as you approach this love, that things now that were not possible at the evil stage now become possible as you migrate away. Because these are different realms. If I ask you how many colors do we have, you could say 256, but in reality, there are billions of different kinds of colors. Just like you have billions of different kinds of colors, because depending on how much of black did you take to add to yellow to form a new color, there are different in fact, trillions of combinations of colors that you can have. So if we represent these colors by, if we call them spectrum, there are different dots of spectrum between this point and that point. So at different points in our lives, we occupy different points on this spectrum. That's why I said we are not all the same. At this level of being so about self, some things, the universe might tolerate some things and say, okay, it's okay. And then, but in the eye of this person is so evil. But this person that is here does not remember that he was once here and that is just moving towards perfection. And therefore, to him, this person is, actually evil, but not in a way as to crucify him anyway. So I don't know. The original question was, there's so much to talk about love, so I don't even know where to take a break now. But basically, love is that pure nature of the universe at which stage everything becomes possible. At the level of self, at the level of which we depict as evil, the universe cannot do things for us for our own sake. I'm just trying to give you a picture of why you cannot attain as self. So if I say, universe, do this for me, for me, for me, if my prayer is around me, the universe cannot. We are too tiny. You are too tiny is even a big word. You are almost irrelevant as a person to the universe. So the universe cannot do things for you as the lake, as we described it earlier on. The universe can only look in your direction and do something which will be claimed for you if you are not actually, if what is you are asking for is not actually for you in such a way that you can have it and be tight-fisted about it. But if you can have it and let it flow through you to somebody else, then it's no longer about you.
Okay.
It's now about use me to do this for you. I don't, yeah, does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it does.
So don't give me, if the reason, you see why I talked about prayer as not being the real thing. So if you are praying, give me money, give me money, give me money. And the universe cannot give you money for you. You are nobody. But okay, the universe, look at all of this behind me. It will be a privilege for you. In fact, not even me, don't even mention me. Do this. Or I wish that this was done on your behalf. And then the next thing would be, oh, you have such a good heart, you wish that. Okay. Now that that is a good wish, who are we going to look for to do it? Naturally, it will be the person who wished it. I mean, even in a secular office, if somebody says, if somebody brings an idea, the natural thing to do, oh, who is going to implement that idea? Okay, why don't you do it since it's your idea? The same vein, the universe can now use you to accomplish that good wish. Not for your own benefit, but for the benefit of that which you have observed for the universe to do. All right. So let's stop there for now. But did you get a picture of the kind of love? I mean, when we say love, what we're talking about now. So when you say at the height, at the peak, at the apex of love, the representation there is what you generally call God. And then at the height of self, that is what you call them. So it is evil for us to think self. And it is love and light and awesome for us to think love. So once we begin to attract the repercussions that are attached to evil, the only way to get out is to move away from being self and then start on our journey to being love. It may not be a one-day journey, it may not be a one-year journey, it might be eternity. Well, at least let's start and begin. And as we move from that darkest spectrum, that point, and then we begin to move from 100% black, so to speak, to 99.99999% black, 99.98% black, 19, and then the 0.00001% that's taken off, it's now white. We'll now begin to experience what the 0.111% white, which I'm using here to represent love, would equally attract us. And that's yes. All of this practice of principle, at the end of the day, that's where we're going. We are saying we need to move our position in the spiritual from where we are now to the next level of love, where we would attract the desires that we have on our mind. Yes.
All right. So if love is, okay, of course I do agree that love is a very powerful force. Like you said, the most powerful. So if love is all of that, why does it seem like, the let me use the word, the opposite of love tends to dominate more. Like if you're the most powerful force, you should dominate more, right? But most times, or when we look around us, we see the opposite around us more than love itself.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. First of all, we're on Earth. We're on Earth. So Earth is not, that's how Earth is meant to be. We are not perfect. That's why we're here. So part of the many things we are here for is to learn. When I say we're not perfect now, you know from the concept of love what we mean. We are not here yet. We are still mostly here.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to take at least 2, 3, 5 more steps in the direction to perfection. That's why we are here. So by nature, Earth is full of people that are not perfect. So therefore, it is dominated by people occupying varying degrees. Even the people that appear, wow, perfect to us, they are not even near there yet. All of us are still around. No, if I was to put this on a graph, most of us will be around here. From the starting point of the deepest evil to, okay, maybe some 30% purity level. So that's why the earth is mostly occupied by this negative energy. And that is why, especially the world generally, even though this virtue may be seen as highly populated in some geographical areas and less, in other areas, but generally, that's why the world is like that.
All right, so speaking on, okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, then the other part of the question is, why do we have first of all, that's why it's like that. But we don't necessarily have to have equal number of good to balance. I think your question is more in that direction. We don't necessarily have to have equal number of good to balance the number of evil. Let me just use that word for now. So good as in being love, and evil as in more of being about self. All right? So if the question is around, if we're talking about balance, then why don't we have equal number of good people as the number of evil people, so that the world will be a bit fairer than just evil everywhere. So we don't have to have equal number. Just one good light, just one person. Of course, we have this sparingly, once in a while, the creator, I assume, will just say, this one, you're evil. If I allow you just dwell here. Let me send somebody to at least balance the aura so that. So once in a while, we have people sent in form of savior, in form of teacher, in form of good-spirited people. You could even call them alien, to bring light to balance. So one light can balance the evil, the instability introduced by 1 billion evil. I don't know if you know what that.
Yeah.
You get that. So it may not necessarily be in terms of I must have the same number of good people. Just one good person, the light from one person who is good can neutralize and balance the effect of so many evils. Therefore, it's always balanced somehow. Of course, this is not written on faces. It's not written on, okay. Even when they are presented to you, this is savior, this is this, you will still, that's the nature of the world. You would always say no. It's not possible for everyone, that's even too large. Even within a particular spectrum of all of these universal possibilities, it's not possible for everyone to agree, because we all occupy different dots on that big picture. It's not possible. Remember the danger of everyone agreeing. If 2 or more people can agree, they will do magic. If a town can agree that we want to build the house, in your fairy tales, to heaven, they will build it. So what's the way to stop them from agreeing? Because once they agree, they will build it. I mean, it's literally impossible. I mean, by the law, by physical laws, how can you build a house that will throw this time? But if they really agree and they really make up their mind in agreement, they will do it. So the only way to make that, to scatter that power, is to put confusion so that they don't agree. And that confusion is still here on earth up to today.
True.
So people cannot agree. People cannot agree. People cannot agree. So once everything is said, okay, finally, we agree that we are going to achieve this. Let us go all out to achieve it. There must be somebody that will come from somewhere and scatter it. If you agree, you become powerful. You become too powerful. The mastermind that is released from that agreement would be God. You become another God outside the pure God. Okay, so yeah, let's take the next question.
All right. So speaking on selfishness and selflessness, now, wouldn't you agree that it's just almost normal to want to do things for yourself first? You know, like how can I give what I do not even have? Right? So I'm trying to, in being selfish, or would I call selfishness an act of me trying to, you know, do certain things for myself, like to balance myself and better still, or at least people around me as well. You know, then I can now start thinking of, or I can now start seeing people around me to want to also show that act of love too. So I don't know, why should we call such act selfishness?
Okay, form another word that we should use so that we drop the harsh word. Selfishness is too harsh. We shouldn't call ourselves selfish. Please, look, give me a yes, the tendency is for us to be naturally selfish. We all are. We all are. And that is why the tendency is natural poverty. Yeah, that's why all the things that we are trying to run away from are naturally there. So it now takes us effort, our own work towards salvation to move from that level to a higher level. So there is work to do. So once you're able to swim above that level and you come to the surface, then you'd have achieved. So the natural thing is to say, okay, you were born into selfishness, to self. I mean, everything around you, this is the normal thing. So why are you asking me to change it? That's the question. I mean, that's your question. It's normal. I should take care of myself. It should be about me. It should be, why should it be anything else? Yeah, you are right. But it's just that the fruit that you would attract would also depict the decisions that you have made. And then after you have suffered and suffered and suffered and suffered at that level, and then your eye will begin to open, and then you will see, come, why am I suffering? Can't I do something to move me out of this suffering to a new level? And that is when you now come to this realization. After all, look at this person. I want to be like this person. Because like I said, there are people scattered here and there. If we were to put this on the graph, like I said, you see some dots there, one dot there, one dot. And then once in a while, you see one far dot far away, so good. And then, I mean, this is not, if you had a spiritual eye to see this thing, that's what you would see. All right. Yeah, so selfishness is a normal thing. It's what we are born into. But we should come to a point. If we are born into that and we live like that and we die, we have not made any impact. We should come to a point where we reborn, we rebirth ourselves, we become, haven't been born into these circumstances and into this situation. We should, what's the word again? Reborn ourselves to our own new life, where we now begin to practice what will lead us out of that situation into the situation that we desire for ourselves. And that is what all of this is about. We are saying If you are still there and you are enjoying what the universe is throwing at you, beautiful. This message is not for you. Awesome. But at some point, you will grow, because the whole essence, the growth is you move from here to here. You cannot be, even if it lasts for 1,000 years, the way the universe grows us in such a way that you would wake up from that level one day, whether by yourself or by the universe taking away that which you are so comfortable with and say, I'm okay like this. It's going to be taken away someday.
Okay.
So at that point, you will now know that it's time to move on. Everything around you will point to it. Yeah, it will take it might take another 80 years of looking for who do me. Is this witch? Is that herbalist? Ultimately, you will wake up to the realization that this is actually me. If I can change me, then I can move me from here to here. And that is where all of these teachings become useful. So, yes, you are right. It is natural for us to be selfish, but we shouldn't stay at being selfish. I mean, even if we want to stay, at some point, we'll grow. You know, there's the teething period for a baby. There is the time when, after he has crawled, he'll begin to take the first step to attempt to walk. All of this they didn't fall from nowhere. They are things, they are the developmental stages in the spirit that we brought to the physical. That's where we learn everything from. And that's why we keep referring and giving examples by the things that you see, so that you can picture the things that you do not see. Because the seen came from the unseen. This is exactly how it worked there. So even as a baby, you do not know that you would walk someday. When the time is ripe, you take the first step. Second step, you take it to fall. You take it, but after a while, you begin to walk, and so on and so forth. So it is also that it is normal for us to be selfish, but at the appropriate time, we'll begin to learn these things, and then we'll begin to practice them, and then we'll become a new us, different from what we used to be. So this is, I mean, by your question, you have answered the question, why are people generally poor? I'm not sure what percentage now, but definitely over 80% of the world in that stage, and only about 20%, that's the 80-20 rule, at this level. Why? Why is the majority always here? Because the majority have accepted the situation they are born into. Only about 20% will feel, no, I'm going to reborn myself into the situation that I truly desire. And this is moving from selfishness towards love.
All right, thank you for that. Now, I believe that every one of us was born out of love. Like the term you would use, the universe. The universe is love, isn't it? The universe is pure, it is beautiful, and all of that. Now, we are born out of this universe, out of love. So it should naturally be something that we are, but although we are not, so we tend to live a kind of life that, okay, in the terms of trying to practice this, we're actually not who we actually were birthed into. Now, if the universe gave birth to me, if I'm here as a result of love, why is it so hard to give it? Why is it even so hard to experience it? Because love, like I know, is a bittersweet feeling, bittersweet experience. However pure and beautiful it is, it comes in different tastes.
Okay. So the universe is love. The universe is beautiful. The universe is this. The universe is that. Where did evil come from? Are there two universes?
Just one.
So these other attributes that the universe is not, where did they come from? I mean, that's a fundamental question.
Still the universe, if you ask me.
It's still the universe. So the universe is not all good. So, yeah, you may want to say, okay, the part of the universe that is good, that is the part you want to identify with and call it God. So everything is about God. And therefore, you can now separate and say the good one is God. I mean, I'm sure this is how the many religions reason. And thank God we're not coming from that route of religion. And then the part of the universe that is not good, that is self, and therefore attracts worry, fear, anxiety. Okay, we want to call that one evil and represent, like I said, the Oga of evil as the devil. Okay, that is fine if that's the way you understand it. But the question is, where did the devil come from? Which universe did it come from? There's only one universe.
Mm-hmm.
So it may not be entirely correct to say the universe is love, the universe is all the beautiful things. The universe is also the ugly things. It's also evil. So that was why I said in one of my quotes that what you call God is neither a good God nor a bad God. In other words, God is neither good. What many people by their religious dogma call God, my God is good. My God is not a good God. Neither is God, or let me remove that word now, God, because we've already epitomized this by God, and put universe. Universe is neither a good universe nor a bad universe. Universe is just fair. It's just there as an umpire. So depending on what you give out to the universe, that is what you get. It's called the law of cause and effect, what you may otherwise call the sowing and reaping, law of sowing and reaping. So if you are ready to give evil out, universe will reply with evil. If you are ready to give good out, universe will reply with good. So universe is not just good, universe can be evil. So therefore we cannot generalize that we are all born into where we desire to be. We are born into where we deserve to be. And therefore, thereafter, we can now, like I said, do things that will help us be born again into where we truly desire. So desire is what you desire, the state that you desire is not exactly the same thing as the state that you deserve.
True. Mm-hmm.
So what you deserve is calculated by what you give out, by your words, especially by your thoughts, and also by your action. Of these three, even if there is no action or there is no words, what you would have done if you had the opportunity to do is already imprinted in your mind, so it can be captured there. So by your thoughts. So by your thoughts, the universe can tell you and place you where you deserve. I mean, and what you deserve can come back to you. Then what you desire now will be, okay, this is where I am now. Now, this is what I want to be. For example, the material, I want to own that building. Yes, again, at the selfish level now. Let's still keep thinking at the selfish level. Let it still be about me, because we don't have enough foundation yet for us to now be thinking universally. It's no longer about me. It's not about God. It's not about the universe. You see how the universe fits more into this explanation than just God? I'm not sure you get that here. Anyway, so let me still be giving examples about I want this, I want that, even though later on we are going to see how we can reframe our mind not to think I anymore, but to begin to think about others. Because if it's not about me, then what else is it about? Yeah, maybe it's about God. But how can you please God who you do not see? The only way to please God that you cannot see is by pleasing your brother, by doing for others. So the God that we are claiming we love or what to do stuff for, it's not really by going to a particular building where God resides to do good there. No, it's about being good to our neighbor. It's about being good to our brother. All of that will come. We'll talk more about that. But essentially, universe is not only love. Universe, the evil that we're born into is also, born into, if that's the way you understand it, is also part of the universe.
All right. So when talking about selflessness, is it selfish to want to give love and expect it? You give love, you expect it in return. Is that selfish?
Yes, that's selfish, because I have come into that equation.
But isn't it natural? Like,
Yes, it's natural. So you have to take a step now above natural. You have to be supernatural. And that's where the practice of principle takes you. All right. Is it not natural that somebody attacks you, and like the question you asked earlier on, previous episodes, that you are attacked by the so-called enemy and then you are hurt down? It's natural. Then it's supernatural that you are attacked and the weapon does not reach you. Is that not supernatural? Is that not above natural?
Mm-hmm.
So to get above what you call natural now, to this level where you now begin to experience this phenomenal fruits, you have to get above that level that you call natural. Maybe supernatural is not the real word, but at least get above that level that you call natural. Now, these things, I imagine they are appearing impossible and difficult. How can I achieve this? How can I achieve it? Yes, a great master, a great teacher was also asked, all of these things you are asking, how is it possible? How can I achieve this? And then you know what the answer is already. I'm sure you know. You cannot achieve these things by yourself.
Okay.
You cannot achieve them by yourself. It's not for you to achieve. The only part that you can do by yourself, like he also said, is do just one thing. And this other, how can I do this? How can you? You just be led into it. It will happen. You do your part, and then it will do its part. So these are not, it's not for you to worry about how do I do? How can I? Is this not this? How can I? No. You just make up your mind, okay, this is it. And then do your own part, which should not be so difficult. Practice of principle is that part, in case for people listening here and miss that part of, miss that episode, what we dwelled on that topic. So once you do your own part, this part that you cannot do, doing your own part is simply saying, you know what, I cannot do that part. Let me just do my own part of the bargain. That part will be done for you. If it was something you could do, then there's no need to practice principle. Just do everything by yourself and to hell with others. All right. So if the question is, this is tending towards impossible, how will I do this? How will I do this when the natural state and environment where I find myself is always limiting, and I obviously cannot do more than this? How are you expecting me to do this? You are not the one who will do it. You practice principle, and then, like the Christians will put it, the one that is bigger than you would come and help you. They call it Holy Spirit. But this is basically the universe. The universe will do the rest.
Okay, speaking of also reasons why we should do this, let the human part of me speak now. What do I stand to gain? What's the purpose? If I have to do something that is, like you said, yeah, I already see the difficulties in it, so why should I do it? What's the purpose for it? What do I get out of it?
Okay, so what do you want? As you are now, if you had the chance to meet the representative of love, of good, okay, you remember these two extremes on the scale? So if you had the chance to meet this man, of course, it's not a man, but whatever is the king of this kingdom, and he asks you, Uyo, what do you want? What is the one thing that you are going to say to him? So that I can answer your question. Because you're asking me, what's the use going through all of this trouble? It's not trouble, by the time we break it down. But let's even assume that. So it depends. What do you want?
Okay, I would probably want to ask for more than one, but if you give me just one to ask, I will tell them I want to be happy. I think that happiness covers a whole lot.
Yes, it does cover a whole lot. And therefore, are you ready to pay the price to be happy? Because nothing is ever dropped on your lap. Nothing. Nothing is free. You cannot get anything just by going and then you pray and then they just drop on your lap. So if you now say, Uyo, I give you happiness. All right? Is that all you want? I give you happiness. It's not going to drop the happiness on your lap right here. It's going to say, Uyo, I have kept your happiness here. Go and grab it. That's how it's going to happen. So if you are now saying, why do you need to go through all of this trouble? This is because of this happiness that is there for you. That's what you are going to get. That's why you have to climb this ladder. Go through this trouble. You climb, you fall, you climb, you fall, you develop your muscle enough, you climb, you get to a river, you cross it, just to get to this happiness. That is why.
Okay, so if the universe, or if we believe that nothing is for free, why should I give love for free? You mentioned that love is selfless. I'm expected to give for free, but I do not get mine for free.
Okay. What's the best way to explain this? Now, at this first of all, you are not giving anything for free, because by yourself you own nothing. You own nothing. Everything that you feel you own is you are just a temporary custodian. So you are not actually giving anything when you feel that you are giving, that this is mine, I'm giving it to you. So the love that you are claiming you are giving for free is not even yours to give. Instead, it's a privilege that you come into the knowledge of knowing that, the knowledge of the existence of love and coming into love to enjoy love. So everything that you think you own is actually owned by the universe, and it's just giving you the opportunity to enjoy it. So to feel that you are giving something for free is actually, no, not you now, I'm just talking generally. Anybody that thinks that, it's actually selfish thinking.
True.
It is selfish for a valley. It's ridiculous for a valley to think that the water that is flowing from on top of the hill through it to, no, that's a hill, to the valley is because of its shape like that. Instead, you should be grateful to the source of the water for using it to supply water to the people at the valley.
True.
So the same for you. So it's not you to give. It's not for you to. You own nothing. You own nothing, even in material.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when we say you own nothing and all of this, we're talking about it. But even in the material, if the owner, yes, you may have deserved it. You may have deserved it by what you do and your practice of principle. But even that is still not yours. You are just living on. I mean, you just have you were just made available to you at that time. It could be taken from you. Maybe something higher might be given to you, something lower, or I mean, there are cases now. There are cases of
Yeah.
you abused it, you think it was yours, I'll take it. Yeah, there are many cases. So it's not us. It's just a privilege. So instead of saying, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, the mindset could be, thank you for the privilege. Now that I have this, I'm going to use it judiciously in such a way that even after I leave this earth, it will be said of me, not necessarily by people, but in the book of records, that, oh, you had just that one talent and you were able to make so much use of it. Come onto my house and enjoy more. All right. So the other angle, the other way that you looked at it earlier, I'm saying, this is one talent. Why should I even use it? Since that will be exactly what the person who buried his talent, that's exactly the way he raised it and buried it. Why should they give me this? I mean, what am I going to do with it anyway? Let me just keep it. So it doesn't bring any profit. But labor, work for it. You trust your master. You should trust your master. That's where faith comes in. We'll talk briefly about faith. If you don't have faith in your master, the universe, then you cannot do all of this. If you have faith in your master, knowing that this your labor will not be in vain, and then deriving temporarily, no, not even temporarily, deriving on one hand the joy that you unleash and release by your labor of love to people around you, ultimately there is going to be profit, there's going to be gain, there's going to be when you work hard and you are paid something for your work, what's it called? Wages.
Yeah.
For all of your hard work.
Yeah.
Right?